And now joining me here on a Missouri Valley Conference chat, Bryan Mullins, the head coach of Southern Illinois. And Bryan, you guys ended a 6-game losing streak with a win against Northern Iowa. Lance Jones with an outstanding performance in that game. And it's been kind of a crazy season for everybody with pauses, no pauses, cancellations, postponements. Early on, you had the win at Butler, then you have the slide, then you come back in this win. Where is this team at as we speak here at the beginning of February?
Well, I think that we're excited for the second half of the Valley season. Like you mentioned, it's been an unusual year for everyone, not just our program, but I think, our program, because of the different pauses and the timeliness of the different pauses with the start of the season and then right in the middle of the season to have two of them throughout has, really kind of hurt in terms of the development of some of our young guys. I think at this time last year, our team played 23 games already and had 27 more practices than this year's team. And we're a lot younger this year. So I think now moving forward, I hope we're okay for the rest of the season. And, I think we're excited to have this week of practice. This will be our first full week of practice in over a month and a half. And we got a big series with Bradley coming up. So I think they're just excited for this second half of the Valley race.
Yeah, having a rhythm is, in talking to your peers around the country, regardless of conference, that's been the toughest thing, whether it's a rhythm of games or practices. How have you been able to manage not having one?
Yeah, it's been tough. Obviously for me being a younger coach, I always, rely on my coaches or, Coach Mosier and ask for advice, but they're all going through it for the first time too for themselves. So no one really has the right solution, or everyone tries different things. I think for our group, obviously just keeping our guys together, especially with such a young group, has been the biggest thing. Making sure everyone's on the same page, that the locker room's always good, and then throughout the last month or so, it's been a lot of individual development things and trying to control the things you can.
So how'd you pull off the split to where maybe you could build some momentum off of that?
Yeah. I'm proud of our guys, to bounce back on night two of a back-to-back series. I think these back-to-backs are tough, especially for younger teams. I think, you look at Drake and Loyola and, the experience that they have and how well they're doing. I think, that's helpful for them, especially. And, I think our guys came out with the right mindset. We know Northern Iowa is a championship program. We understand, how well coached they are. And I think they were motivated, to kind of prove themselves. I thought the first game we played a good 20 minutes, but then, didn't finish it up with a great second half. And, we wanted to try to play 40 minutes of SIU basketball last night.
So the win that you got out of Northern Iowa, what did you see in that game that now, as you said, this level of optimism that's there for the second half?
Yeah, well, I think we're still figuring out rotations. We're missing Marcus Domask, one of our better players, and we're adjusting lineups constantly. But I think we found a couple things that worked in that second game, offensively and defensively, which is really beneficial for us. And now with some practice, I think we'll be able to clean that up moving forward for the rest of the Valley season.
One last thing I want to just get to, is dealing with this pandemic as a topic. And first off, so every coach I've talked to, they sort of hold their collective breath when they go through the testing. Yeah. And I'm just curious about your own anxiety with that, like, whether it's 3 times a week or daily, just however you're dealing with it, just how you just sort of wait, get the results. Okay, now we can practice today. We got everyone here. Are we checking, making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to?
Yeah, it's exactly like you said. You hold your breath and plans until after you get the test results back. And it's been going on now since August, and you don't schedule too far in ahead. You don't look too far ahead. You really focus on the day, and you're grateful for every day that you have, every practice that you have, for every game that you're able to play. And that's our message to our guys, that whether we get games canceled or not, if we're able to have a team practice, guys, take advantage of it. Enjoy it, enjoy being together, enjoy being able to do a road trip together. So, I think it puts a lot of things in perspective.
Bryan, what's that phone call like, or text or email, however it's communicated to you, when you are told, hey, we have to go on pause, or, hey, this game we just planned for isn't happening?
Well, The second one's a lot better because at least all your guys and your program's okay and your staff's okay. The first one is it's it's just you kind of put your head down and then you regroup for a second, and then you deal with it, and you make sure that your staff member or your student athlete, that he's feeling okay, that he's all right. You inform the family, obviously, and you just make sure they have everything they need in terms of how they're feeling, how they're set up. But it's most disappointing for the student athletes because some of this, well, most of it's out of their control, and they're trying to do everything right. I mean, I think everyone's going through all this and sacrificing this because they love to play college basketball and they love to be part of a team. And, a lot of our guys haven't been home since July, and they've sacrificed a lot. And so that's who you feel for the most.
And Bryan, I'm just curious, when it happens, how fast do you have to act in terms of, okay, the player's got to go to a quarantine or an isolation. We got to get his clothes. We got to get food, like how fast does stuff start to happen once you get that communication that a player has tested positive?
Yeah, it's right away. Obviously with our department, that they do an unbelievable job making sure, our student athletes have everything they need when they are in the quarantine or isolation situation. But as soon as, we find out someone is positive, it's addressed right away. They're informed right away. The families are informed right away. And, now, we kind of know the process and we have everything set up. I think maybe early in the fall, early in the summer, there was a little bit of, making sure everything is set up properly. But I think now everyone's been through it where, I think the process at least is a lot smoother for the student athlete.
And lastly, Bryan, the conference tournament, it's a big hot topic. I'm a believer that I still think you got to play the games, and sitting out and doing nothing, you could easily test positive wherever, let alone, in St. Louis, if you're doing the right thing, like you guys have been doing. Obviously you are at this juncture in early February toward the bottom of the standings. Yeah. So teams like you want and need those kind of opportunities. Where do you stand on wanting to make sure there is a Valley tournament?
I stand, screaming from a microphone that we want to make sure there's a Valley tournament. I think the Valley does an unbelievable job with Arch Madness. I think it's one of the best conference tournaments in the country. The setup they have, St. Louis hosting the city, and it's a great experience for our guys. So I think it's a special weekend for our conference and for our league, and it's something that needs to be preserved. And I do. I think it means something. I think our league is usually a week before Selection Sunday. So, if there isn't that, then, whoever wins our league, the regular season, you're looking at 2-3 weeks off before you even play in the NCAA tournament. And like you said, it can happen. There's no rhyme or reason, sometimes why someone tests positive for COVID, and there's no foolproof way to completely prevent it. So I think everyone's doing the best they possibly can do. And, I definitely hope, the Valley Conference tournament happens.
Well, Bryan, I appreciate it. You're on to the second half of the Valley season here in the final month of the regular season. Stay safe, and hopefully things will continue in a positive manner for you guys. Positive manner, negative testing.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it, Andy. Thanks.